Man, that was very wild. Very, very, very wild. I just watched an interview by Anele 947 interviewing Helen Zille, and that was wild, man. That was one of the hottest interviews I've ever watched. I've heard people talking, I've watched other content creators putting their comments. It's very hectic. It's been very, very hectic. But I was like, I never really got a, some time to watch it. I just watched recently before I could put my view across. But if you can refer to my other episode, a few days ago, when I said Herman Mashaba of Action SA and Helen Zille of Democratic Alliance are going to be the two contenders that I see that they can actually fight for the position of the mayor of Johannesburg. Here's my view. The interview went well, and it was robust, it was challenging, and we must hold these politicians to account. Anele did absolutely nothing wrong, zero, but she was actually pushing, to get answers. What I mentioned a few days ago is that as much as people are saying, or even Helen Zille has said it, that Cape Town was run, had a clean administration and was run and administered properly and all of that, fine. It's no argument. But what about black communities who are stuck in Guguletu, in Khayelitsha? If you can also check the mood on Twitter, people, especially black people, are worried that they might not get services if Helen Zille becomes mayor of Johannesburg. The same thing that has been happening in Cape Town, and it was also confirmed by Tate Herman Mashaba when he was still in the DA, when the DA helped the ANC to get rid of him. And he also repeated the same thing just after he left the Democratic Alliance. So I'm very much skeptical and very careful. And she might take the position out of heavy hearts, man, out of heavy hearts, because the ANC has become a corruption vehicle, and people have run out of options. That's why they have to pull someone from Cape Town to Joburg, because she will be staying in Joburg because of the campaigning issue, and you need to be a resident of Joburg if you want to be a mayor of Joburg and all of that. So she will be relocating anyway if she indeed becomes a mayor. And you could see also with the posture of Cyril Ramaphosa that he actually endorsed Helen Zille indirectly, technically. So the ANC doesn't kind of really stand a good opportunity of having their mayor put forward and becoming, the mayor. As we now have Dada Morero, things are not really good, man. People go days without water. There's lack of service delivery. There's potholes everywhere. Traffic lights not working and all of that. But I want to specifically talk about the interview between Helen Zille and Anele, pushing very hard to get certain answers. And I think Helen Zille was very much offended when Anele mentioned corruption. And so the DA is actually immune of corruption. And that doesn't mean they are not corrupt. It doesn't really, there's no political party which can come to say they are not corrupt. Somehow, there's smaller skeletons, the Batabile Dlamini kind of, smaller skeletons, because the Democratic Alliance, the very same Democratic Alliance, was running Tshwane. We gave them an opportunity in Tshwane, and they put Solim Simang as the mayor there. Solim Simang messed up city of Tshwane, and he took a bouncer and gave him the most senior position, I think, in the finance department, someone who doesn't even qualify. And if she's saying They deal with corruption. They don't want corruption, and they don't want corrupt people. What have they done with Solim Simang, who also found himself in that predicament that he actually recruited a bouncer who was given a senior position? So it's quite confusing. So the DA is not clean as much as people claim, and that's my only concern, that black people wouldn't actually receive services. That one I can promise you. And another thing is that she doesn't mention anything about reclaiming the city. We've got Nigerians who have hijacked buildings there. We've got Congolese, we've got people from all over Africa who have actually practically hijacked buildings in Johannesburg. She's not saying anything about that. So I'm not really kind of convinced that we are going to, have a good time when she becomes mayor. Maybe in the white areas like Sandton, Hyde Park, Morningside, they are going to get services, because Helen Zille believes that those are the people who are really paying. It's value for money. They are paying for the services, and yes, they are paying, according to the status of their areas and all of that. So we can't argue that. And she has got a perception that in townships and squatter camps, people are getting much more than what they pay for, which is not true, because if someone is a director of a company and they earn a good salary, maybe 250K a month, and they are paying 30,000 for the services, unlike someone who's unemployed, who's supposed to buy electricity, maybe 500 rand per month. So it doesn't really kind of balance. So it actually separates people according to their classes, that, and we know that majority of people who are staying in townships and squatter camps are black people. So I'm not really kind of convinced that black people will actually get the services as much as they do now. Because even if we can blame the ANC or maybe Action SA or Patriotic Alliance or whatever the party that is running the municipality, the ANC itself, at least they are kind of considering black people to say, let us render the services, even though the services are not up to speed, the infrastructure development and all of that. There's the sewer system, and it's not like running smoothly, yes, but it's kind of being delivered, as opposed to completely not getting a service. Because the same issue that has happened in Cape Town and has been happening, and even until now, it's still happening, that people in Khayelitsha, Guguletu, and many other neighboring townships, squatter camps, or informal settlement are not really kind of receiving the services. We are all human. We need to receive services. People cannot be packed like sardines. She mentioned Alexandra, that people are packed in Alexandra. It's not a good, but give us the plan. What is your plan? What are you going to do? Another thing is that for as long as you don't talk about illegal immigration, Bayazal Sufi mentioned that there's 400 informal settlements that are mushrooming around Joburg. And Helen Zille doesn't mention anything about that. And in my own view, I don't know if she will let those people continue to squat and or maybe she will just give them services, because those squatter camps needs to be removed, because they are posing a threat towards people who are staying in upmarket areas, because that's where crime stems. They will go cross to the suburbs, commit crimes, steal plasma TVs and everything. That's how it works, that immediately when you are staying in an upmarket area and then there they establish squatter camps, those people are going to feed from you. Whether you talk about electricity, they are going to breach electricity, they are going to breach water supply, bore the pipes and divert water to their yards, and they wouldn't pay for the service. And the next thing, they want schools, they are demonstrating, they are blocking the main roads and all of this. So it's you are inviting chaos. So I don't know what she's going to do, but what I can say is that Anele pushed very hard, to actually get certain answers. But I think Granny got too emotional to answer questions, and that interview started, on a high note. And it was very difficult now for her to actually focus on the questions themselves. Helen Zille wants to be asked that, what are you going to do with water? What are you going to do with traffic lights and all of that? Those are just typical questions. But when you go deeper to say, if the DA or the Democratic Alliance is found to have been corrupt, what is going to happen? That's the simple question that you need to answer, that we deal with corruption. Anyone who is found to be corrupt and all of that. So she gets offended when she's being asked about corruption. I don't know, South Africa. Maybe I might be wrong. Maybe she will deliver the service. She will sort out the issues. But the biggest problems that we are facing is informal settlements and hijacked buildings in Johannesburg. We need someone who is going to give clarity, to say, this is what exactly I'm going to do. I'm going to reclaim the city. I'm going to kick out all those illegal immigrants. Because people have lost their properties in Johannesburg because of these illegal immigrants. What is going to happen? You need to at least give us that clue exactly what you are going to do about it. And for as long as she's denying, being emotional and accusing Anele of insulting her and all of that. So that was just unnecessary for her to be emotional, but she was just supposed to answer the questions. And I believe if she answered the questions, things could have been very, very much easier. So it was one of those interviews that, it's fast and furious, and, it's been very hectic. So, but I appreciate the whole interview, because that's where we can see that, is this person really up for a business of helping to rescue Johannesburg, or we are going to see another kind of Cape Town situation whereby people who are in squatter camps would kind of rarely receive services. It is going to be chaotic. I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong, but Cape Town has shown us that it's very difficult to get a service when you're staying in townships and squatter camps and all of that. So that's the main concept. And also reclaiming of the city back to the municipality, because buildings have been hijacked. There's only maybe 10 or 15% of South Africans there. 85% to 90% are from Africa. They are migrants who are staying there. So it's not a conducive environment for South Africans to stay in Joburg. I don't know, those who are staying in Joburg can attest to this, that place is actually overcrowded by migrants. I don't know. I'll hear your view from the comment section. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. It's for free. Just log in and subscribe. We appreciate your support and everything. I'll see you next time, Squatters. Sharp.